Welcome to today's edition of Toggle's Daily Video Insights. For those of you joining us for the first time, my name is Jan. I'm one of the co-founders of Toggle, and we are going to take a deeper dive into a stock, an insight that Toggle had produced, which it generates across hundreds of publicly traded US stocks in order to give you a sense of what the relevant drivers currently are and where directionally the stock might be headed. Today, the focus is going to be on Zynga, and if you'd like to see more of these insights, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can also test drive Toggle Copilot, which is the system that we're using here, for yourself by just going to toggle.global. Now, as you can see here, we haven't actually had any signals for quite some time, so there's been really a barren period for this particular name. But then most recently in April, there was a volatility highlighted insight that suggested that Zynga could move up quite a bit. In fact, the percentage remaining is still 30% with 6 months to go. And then most recently there was one on momentum. Seems like momentum in the stock has picked up, and that also suggests that there could be about 20% left with about 6 months remaining. So what we're going to do today is we're going to click on this one and take a look in more detail what the insight is actually suggesting, since this is the most recent one. As many of you already know, the system looks back through these past episodes when you've had a similar distortion in momentum. In this case, momentum has actually fallen off a little bit, and historically this is the range of outcomes that you would have seen when you've had a similar situation, which in this case has happened 11 times. So the system has gone back, looked through all of those, and effectively generated this confidence interval here, meaning that the driver momentum should see the stock stay somewhere within these parameters, and if it were to dip below 949, something else must be driving the stock, and this is a good place to reassess the trade, or potentially remove the position, put a stop loss right here. As you can see, it certainly did not take 6 months to generate this kind of return in the past. There have been many times when it did that in half the time. The target price here would be 13.14, potentially also exceeding 14. Now, looking at why it might move, this is where you're able to see what is actually the driver, and it's quite clear that the 3-month momentum, as well as also the 12-month momentum in the stock, has dropped off quite significantly. But if you look very carefully over the past 8 years, these periods have historically been quite good periods to actually enter this position. So both the 1 week, the 3-month, and the 12-month momentum seem to be a little bit on the back foot here, but historically it looks like this was an opportunity rather than a case of adversity. And if you look at the past performance, in fact, you can see that with the exception of a couple of sort of bad apples here, which underlines the importance of really respecting the stop loss level, the majority of past returns were really concentrated here between 10 and 30%. So really quite a compelling risk reward. And if you had invested $1 in each of these and reinvested in each of these 11 past episodes, you would have ended up with almost $3 of profit year to date. So much for Zynga today. In the daily brief, we also briefly discuss the old saying, sell in May, go away, and whether or not that still makes sense for active traders today. So it should already be in your mailboxes. If you don't receive the daily brief, check your spam folder. You might be receiving it there, or otherwise go to toggle.global and you can subscribe there. Thank you again for your attention, and we'll see you tomorrow.